So, Mike, I'm glad that you took some time to talk to me today.
Oh, no problem, man. Matter of fact, I'm kind of stoked about doing this.
So, Mike Tarantino is a guy that I see at the gym just about every day. He's a good Christian man, and just wanted to take a few minutes to ask him a few questions about his faith and how he got to where he is, and just kind of understand what his walk has looked like. And this is discipleship, guys. This is talking to each other about what our walks have been like, and how the Lord has moved in our lives to get us to where we are today. So, Mike, first, where do you work? What do you do for a living?
I work here in Rockwall. Matter of fact, I work at Whitmore Manufacturing Company, which is right down the street here. I've been here for 30 years. It's a grease manufacturing company, which we make grease for the whole United States and for foreign countries. Our biggest sales people that we make the grease for is over in Russia. Matter of fact, a mining company.
Okay.
So we do everything for industrial, like mining and railroad and things of that nature. We do hydraulic oils. We make puncture seal for tires.
Wow. So you've been there 30 years.
Yes.
And then about when did you become a believer?
I want to say I've always been a believer, but really a hardcore believer in the last 5 years, as my wife and I have been looking for a church, and we found a church here in Rockwall, which we started at Cornerstone, and then we ended up over in Rowlett. But as far as our faith goes, as strong faith, it's been within the last 5 years.
Last 5 years. So what was it within the last 5 years that really moved your faith to a closer walk?
An emptiness, believe it or not, because I had everything I wanted. I had money. I had, good times. I really didn't. I just felt empty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain that to some people out there, especially if you're new people, is when you feel that you have everything but you don't, there's an emptiness, there's a sorrow, kind of just a void in your in your system that's not being filled.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything was about me.
Oh.
And ever since we got deep in our religion and started being a true Christian and walk with our faith and being a true believer, it's filled that void.
So did you seek anything out when you were starting to feel like your life was empty? Like, how did you go about coming to the Lord a little bit more closely?
It's funny that you asked that, because of the fact that I started seeking it out in drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
Before I, went to the Lord. And then we had a person that my wife works with, which was the pastor's wife up here at Crossroads. She's been trying to get her into, come to that church. And that's when we started feeling to where that void's been filled.
So you went and you did drugs and alcohol. How did you feel while you were doing all that stuff?
For the moment, I felt like I was okay, but it's only for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it wears off. This does not wear off.
Right. So you got plugged into, what was your church again?
Crossroads in Rockwall.
Crossroads in Rockwall. Is that where you're going now?
No. Now we're going to, it's Cornerstone in Rockwall.
Cornerstone, okay.
We're now going to Crossroads in Rowlett.
Okay. And you're involved with the men's group there?
Yes, on Wednesday nights.
Okay. And what do you guys do with your men's group?
Basically what we do is, like when we, last that we left off was in 1 John. And what we do is we tear that apart verse by verse by verse. We don't just go through a chapter
mm-hmm.
and come back. We break it down verse by verse by verse. So it lasts about an hour and a half to do just a couple of verses. It's just an awesome place to be.
So how close is your group of men? Are you guys real good friends?
We are. We see each other mostly at church all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But me and Denny McFarland, he's one of my friends that came from here to Rowlett. He's the one that got us into this church,
mm-hmm.
and he's in that men's group as well. So we do have friends that we hang out with
mm-hmm.
over there as well. And speaking of friends, you don't know who your true friends are until you get connected.
Right. Yeah, some people are intimate and they want to know how you're doing.
Yeah, and some people are just material.
Right. Yeah, it's good to get to know your fellow brothers, isn't it?
It is.
So looking back on your life, what is one thing that was just really hard? What was kind of your hardest obstacle, and how did God bring you through it?
Well, I think my hardest obstacle was actually losing my friends that I had. Because I didn't know where I was going to end up. I didn't know, am I getting shunned off, the face of the earth or whatever, until you got to church and then you found out what real people are.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's fake people out there that want you for material stuff, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you lost a bunch of friends, and
I did.
Were these people that were also drugs and alcohol?
They were, and that's the thing. It was all material.
Okay. And then you came to a body of believers, and it sounds like they were there for you.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the thing, too, about faith, too, which I love, is you can't do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have, people of the Lord to help you. You have to have church members. You have to have the right people in your life to end up to walk in the right path.
Right. So in terms of discipleship, I don't know, how old are you?
I'm 60.
60?
Yeah.
Okay, so you lived a little bit of life.
Yeah.
So looking back on your life, what are some of the things that you might tell a younger believer that might help him to not make the same mistakes that you made?
Well, it's easy. It's getting connected with the right kind of people. And you're always told this, the people that you hang out is what you're influenced by. So if you're hanging out with the wrong kind of people, you're going to be tagged as the wrong kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
You can drop at any time. Look at what happened with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he was saved by Jesus from killing Christians to becoming a believer and spreading the news out. You'll find a fulfillment in your life because of the fact that you are doing what's right and you feel you're doing what's right. And it's just, like I said, it fills that void.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Mike, I appreciate you just giving me some insight. We're, of course, going to stay connected. Hopefully you join the platform, too, at some point, and we can stay connected there, too.
Of course.
Thanks for your time today, man.
I appreciate it.
Love you.
Love you, too.